Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's so nice to have you all here. My name is Wendy Phillips. I'm the Senior Program Manager of the Vets United team by WTS. We are based in Berlin, in Germany, and in 2023, we released our animal welfare teaching modules, which is teaching material to be used for in-person animal welfare training. There is a total of 15 modules. We will share the link later. It's available online completely for free. And we decided to explain a bit more about the teaching modules, makes it easier to understand them and to use them. We would like to present certain topics from the teaching modules to use. So we will start today with the module about pain management. After a short introduction, my colleague Seun will give a presentation of a slightly shortened version of the pain management modules from the Vets United teaching modules. Afterwards, we will have two breakout rooms to discuss certain topics about pain management. Then we will meet again and have a short discussion. And then we will show you where to find the module as well as the rest of the modules. Also, just to let you know, we will record the presentation, but we will not record the breakout rooms and the discussion afterwards. So if you're not happy to be in the recording, just turn off your videos during the presentation. Thank you. And now I pass on to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar presentation and also being part of the African Universities Network for Animal Welfare. So a bit introduction about the group. The Stiftung is a charitable foundation established in 2015, and it is based in Berlin, like Wendy said. And it's the Vet United program was initiated to support tertiary education institutes to improve the animal welfare education for future animal health professionals. And you can see in the picture that we have over here, when the vets are educated about the importance of animal welfare, they can actually pass it down to their students and also to animal keepers. And of course, this would definitely have impact on the way that we treat the animals. So today, I'll be talking about pain management as it relates to animal welfare and for health professionals. So do you think that animals actually experience pain? Have you ever, witnessed an animal experiencing pain around you? Or have you at any point in time, or can you at any point in time look at a particular animal and say that this animal is going through pain? Here we have different species of animals that research have told us that they can experience pain. So what is pain? Current research shows that many animals have a similar nervous system, anatomy, and physiology similar to that of humans, but the absence of pain expression in any way that humans understand does not mean that the animal is not experiencing pain. It might just mean that we humans are yet to understand how to easily detect pains in animals. It is accepted that all vertebrates and some invertebrates experience pain, and there's growing evidence of pain in mollusks and crustaceans and even, in fishes. So let's look at the link between pain and welfare. Each of us as human beings, we all know that when we are going through pain, it affects our welfare. An animal that is going through a painful experience, of course, it means that the welfare of that animal is not good or probably has been compromised. So also, when an animal is kept in a situation where the welfare is compromised, it's going to affect the way in which they will perceive any painful experience. So it's a two-way relationship. Now, let's try to understand how the animal perceives pain, because it's only when the brain is able to interpret a signal that it is painful, then it can show in the behavioral changes or physiological responses of the animal. So looking at this picture of the cow, there is when the animal is having a noxious stimuli, maybe a painful leg, or it has just wounded itself, there is the transmission of this signal through electrical charges through the peripheral system until it gets into the central nervous system, after which it is being amplified, and then the signal is sent into the brain to interpret this. Of course, the output from the brain depends on a lot of factors, which could be due to previous experience of the animal, probably its affective state at that point in time, maybe it was in a good state or bad state, the physical and social environment, and also the cognitive function of the animal at that point in time determines how the animal is going to interpret that painful experience. Is pain related to stress, or are they the same? Stress, fear, and anxiety modulates pain perception. There's what is called stress-induced analgesia, where acute stress such as pain, fear, and a threatening accident. I believe we all know that fear is a welfare issue as well. All this can reduce the perception of pain by pain modulation. For instance, when an animal is injured, that doesn't stop it from fleeing from a predator, because survival is key at that point in time. So there can be like a masking effect, of the animal not laying much emphasis on the pain that it is experiencing at that point in time, but it needs to escape for its life. Then the second one is about stress-induced hyperalgesia. Under chronic stress condition, this increases the perception of pain by reducing the pain threshold. So there are two situations here, under a situation of acute stress and under a situation of chronic stress. Both have implication on pain perception in animals. So keep the connection to stress in mind when you assess and manage pain. Now, is that all about it? Is it just the experience of the animal? What is the implication of pain on production, physiology, or behavior of the animal? When an animal is undergoing pain, it affects, wound healing process. There's a reduction in feed intake, weight loss. There's a lower activity level. In fact, social interaction is reduced to the barest minimum, because the animal finds it difficult to interact with other pen mates or even with humans that are handling them. It also results in the reduction of their productivity, their lifespan, and the product quality. And there is always a negative impact on human-animal interaction. Now, pain in animal affects human welfare. So now that we know that we have different animal species, it may not be easy to use the pain assessment, let me say, scoring system of one animal to depict pain in another animals, because each species actually have their different behavior and different ways by which they can experience pain. And unfortunately, most animals tend to hide their pain because they don't want to be vulnerable out there. So how are we going to be able to actually assess appropriately the pain that our animal is going through? So how do different animals express pain? From here, we have the picture of a cow, maybe the positioning and the cat and the chicken and the donkey. Looking at them, it shows that something is not right. Could it be pain? Could it be, disease? Could they be going through disease? Because of course, disease is infection or fighting disease is part of a way that they can, also experience pain. Now, for us as animal health professionals and for us related to animal welfare that we want to detect pain, how are we able to detect and assess pain in animals? The signs of pain varies between species and individuals. Detecting pain is a key skill of animal health professionals. And I want us to begin to think about it today, because pain, the issue of pain is a topic that is not really given much attention to, probably because it's a bit difficult to understand and access. But henceforth, after today's presentation and also the discussion in the breakout room, we want us to begin to see how we can start working in this regard. Because one of the 5 freedoms of animal welfare actually talks about freedom from pain, injury, and discomfort. So pain assessment is the foundation of adequate pain management. You can only manage what you can assess. So how do we go about that? So to detect pain, it's a complex situation, because how animals perceive and process it, it's dependent on the species, the breed, the age, and the sex of the animal, as well as the temperament, the duration. Is it a painful experience for a short time, or is it a painful experience that's lasting for days and weeks? The environment at the time of assessment as well affects how to detect pain. Then previous experiences. For an animal that have undergone several types of painful procedures and experiences, it may be a bit difficult for you to be able to assess it accurately. However, we can as well detect the pain in an animal through physiological and behavioral signs. Now, these are just pictures showing different species of animal, and we can see they are not looking okay, they are not looking happy. It shows that something is wrong with them. And how can we as humans try to understand what is going on in the lives of these animals that cannot open their mouth to express themselves verbally to us? So these are other pictures as well. Yeah, and other pictures, yeah, and different species of animals. So it's all encompassing. So the basics of pain alleviation. For you to alleviate pain, you should be able to assess it and measure it. So pain is a complex individual experience, and it's influenced by many factors. Pain alleviation should address this complexity. Fine. If we are not able to identify, we cannot alleviate. But in terms of pain alleviation, there are 3 major framework here. One has got to do with the pharmacological aspect, which has to do with the treatments, injecting them or giving them medications or drug, which is the common way by which we understand the way of alleviating pains in animal, injecting them or giving them medications. However, we also have the non-pharmacological method, which involves using, this is hot water bath and also ice. Maybe there's inflammation, a swollen leg, you can as well apply these to reduce the pain in the animal. And thirdly, in terms of the care and the environment, yes, if an animal is even undergoing pain, the care you give to that animal at that particular point in time, or the environment in which you keep it, would either reduce the pain that is being experienced or multiply it. For instance, an animal that is going through pain and you have to overstock it, definitely is going to be either trampled upon, or stepped upon by other animals. So we as animal health professionals, we also need to look into this area. How can we help alleviate pain? By looking into the care we give to them at that point in time and the environment in which we keep the animals. All right. Why should we know about it? Of course, it's very important for us to know about pain because animals are sentient beings. That means they can experience both painful procedures or painful situation and palatable ones. Since they can experience and differentiate between a palatable and unpalatable experience, then it shows that it's very important for us to be able to understand pain. Because we humans keep animals for our own interest, depending on whatever, maybe our farm animals or pet animals or zoo animals. Therefore, it's very important for us to take the responsibility to help to avoid unnecessary pain to the animals. Then as advocates for their patients' well-being, animal health professionals have a responsibility to detect, assess, prevent, and treat. So you can see that we have four major objectives. Firstly is to detect. Second is to assess. Thirdly is to prevent, and then to treat the pain in our animals. The role of animal health professionals. They help to recognize and treat pain as soon as possible. We can also help to sensitize colleagues for preemptive pain management, especially in neglected species like farm animals. I'm so glad that we have here, it's an African network of lecturers who are working in different institutions in Africa. And the situation in Africa is similar. Even looking around our environment, we all see these animals in our community as part of our society. And at one time or the other, we would have observed them showing, signs or behaviors related to pain. We need to wake up to this call to be able to educate others and let them know that our animals also experience pain. And we should do as much as possible to help reduce this for the animals. We need to educate animal keepers about animal behavior, pain detection and prevention, then to straighten our misconceptions about pain in animals. Till today, some people still believe, or some people don't believe, that animals experience pain. So as a researcher, research on pain-related behavior and new methods of pain prevention and treatment is key and very, very urgent so that we can actually help these animals in our environment. Thank you so much for your listening attention. I hope you were able to get value from this. So what we need to do now is we'll be moving into 2 breakout rooms. We'll have 15 minutes in the different breakout rooms. If you have any questions regarding to this, please ask. And then we will be having 2 groups. The first group will be discussing about painful routine procedure. And the second group will be discussing about common misconceptions about pain. And we want to also say at this point in time that we want it to be as interactive as possible because we want to gather information, your understanding about this topic. And also in each room, we need an active person to take notes because we'll be coming back to discuss on this topic.